once more, ladies and gentlemen, here to the ESL One Cologne 2017 closed North American qualifiers. We have Team Liquid and Misfits going at each other right now, and Misfits just surprised us on the first map with their solid play. They were able to take control of that map, and now we go on to our second one, which is already going live into the pistol. Team Liquid starting off on the CT side, and Misfits jumping onto the T side. I think overall, as we look at this map box, I think Liquid's odds are going to look a little bit better. I think this is one that overall it swings more in their direction, just in my eyes personally.
Yeah, I mean, they've beaten a higher caliber of opponent on the map. They've played higher caliber opponents in general. They've beaten like Immortals and Renegades and CLG and NIP and Optic, and you just go down the line that the teams they've beaten on this is just a little bit higher. And in general, it's just a strong map for Liquid. Has been for quite some time. It doesn't matter the roster. I feel like this has always been a map that's been favored for them. Stanislaw spots them coming up mid as he's on the roof watching that A bomb site, so he's going to fall back into the cubby, burrowing himself as best he can, but he doesn't burrow himself long enough. His team is beginning the fight towards this A bomb site. He couldn't survive to try and join that fight with them, and he's losing some teammates as we speak. JDM and Nitro, the last two hopeful players for Team Liquid. Nitro's made it up into the site. He gets one kill, but in general, it's a pretty strong play from Misfits. They just charge straight up mid and go towards the A site.
Yeah, and with that, Misfits, well, is going to take control right at the start of this map again. Momentum being carried forth from the last map, and seeming to come in strong here in the start at the beginning. Sorry, I'm losing my train of thought here. At the start of the start of the second map. So getting into our next round here, immediately Sick is going to go up to the AK. The other four, however, are going to prioritize UMPs for right now. And Liquid obviously will go for their force buy. Stan just going to go right out, but has to go right back over here towards A long, as he does spot one player, but the molly is going to send him reeling back over to the kind of safer side of this one.
Nades coming in from Misfits to get themselves into the drop room. Sean Garris is going to heave out a nade, a molly, and a flash into that area. Devo Duvek looks like he's going to be the lead man in regards to taking drop control. Smoke down for window, flashbang as well. He shoots a shot off from his ump to mask the sound of the nade. Shazam, though, has worked his way up all the way to the end of the broken wall. Little does he know that Elige is playing right on the other side of that smoke. So as it fades, he'll have a good line of sight towards Shazam, but Shazam's made it out already. He's actually charging towards Twist. Luckily for him, Shazam was pretty loud in that approach, so Twist gets to hear it before he gets there. The rest of Misfits, though, is kind of cycling back and going towards A. It looks like Devo Duvek is going to be the split player right now to come in from Connector, possibly. But at the very least, he's just making noise, trying to be a distraction, trying to keep people glued towards this B bomb site. Doesn't look like it's really going to work. What a shot from Nitro right to the head of Sick, and it's a two-man advantage right now for Liquid. Again, Nitro in sight, misses the second shot, gets the second opportunity, though, and he's going to do some decent damage. Sean Garris down to 27. Nitro's died in sight, but Twist is still here with that ump. Meanwhile, working up from long, it's going to be Stan, but before that can happen, JDM is on the site, point-blank range with a scout. 4 players survive the force buy here from Team Liquid as Misfits get obliterated on the push into A.
And Team Liquid bouncing right back into the game now with some nice style there in their second round. They do bring it back 1-1. Misfits, well, they're just going to take that and have to go immediately onto an eco, or are they going to look for an aggressive response? It is looking like they'll take it, actually. As no, they buy into it at the very last second there. So they are going to go for the aggressive response by trying to keep themselves in the match. They want that early advantage. It's T-side, so they need to carry the advantage forward. Otherwise, they're going to fall behind on this first half here. And they're going pretty straightforward through the B halls, out onto the approach, leading up to the platform. They're not actually going to take plat control just yet for 2 reasons. One, there's a molly in the way, and second, they're a little bit disjointed currently. But it's basically just opening up with a default here. And after a few seconds, we'll probably start to form up for more of a standard style take.
JDM with that scout, watching the push from Broken Wall. It does look like it's going to be a B execute here in a moment from Misfits. JDM refreshes the smoke in that area, so it's going to delay things a little while longer here for the T side. Elige now trading positions, moving towards the stairs instead. That's going to be a great spot. There's 2 there. Shazam, though, has a bit of an angle on the edge of that smoke, so Elige has to be careful. Nade in, does a little bit of damage to Sean Garris, not really much. But they're getting set for smokes for this B bomb site in just a moment. Twist still watching the drop room, but passively at that. He's on the other side of the window, now moving over towards E-Box. The smokes are down. He's going to play towards Pizza, and he drops Sick. There's one more just behind him. It's Devo Duvek. He falls as well. Meanwhile, the players coming out long, they get delayed, so they're not even able to get into the site at the same time. And as a result, they get cut down with ease. JDM and Elige close things out. as it's Liquid grabbing the second round without a single casualty.
And so off of that, Misfits are indeed going to find themselves broken and have to go on the normal saving path. Just this one full save, though, and they should be good enough to buy in the next round. They're going to be a little bit limited in that next round, but it should be like a decent buy regardless. Depends on how they want to play. They can do this one, then half buy next round, and then full buy. But it depends on how aggressively Misfits want to play into this map. Liquid, though, for sure, is going to be the one that takes control early on in this map with some nice plays coming out. Again, it's Twist that leads the charge for the team currently. Haven't seen much from Stanislaw just yet, but again, we're like 3 rounds in, so it's nothing to judge on just yet. Moment, Misfits just hanging back, and again, lining up. But essentially just that default pattern. The problem is they try to play a little bit more aggressively towards mid-connector, and that led to the first death of Sean, with Nitro being able to peek out from the suicide steps and knock him out relatively easily.
Nade in deep, spray to follow by Elige. Some damage dealt here by Misfits as Twists has met his demise by way of 6 P250. And it brings us to 4-on-4, minute and 10. As the clock continues to tick down lower and lower. They got to be concerned right now as Sick is still in this A site. They have no idea he's here. Nitro gets completely blindsided by this shot. Stan is trying to work his way in from connector. He's got one joining him as well. JDM, check that corner. Indeed, he does. MP9 straight to the brain as the bullet just goes straight through the skull cap. Stanislaw catches them on the cross. He's going to gun down Shazam. It's actually a big kill as it's the bomb that's dropped. They have to go out and pick it up. And that's Sick, who's been in the site for what feels like an eternity. Molotov down to try and prevent a safe plant for long, and a nade to follow as well. They're just trying to buy clock right now so they can get into position to prevent this one. And they've done a pretty decent job of doing that. Amanek is hiding in the smoke as best he can with the up. Sprays away and picks up 2. And now it's Stanislaw left to try and get this one back in Liquid's favor. It will be Misfits stealing the round away.
And nicely done from Misfits, a round where they have absolutely no business stealing it. They take it out of the hands of Team Liquid, but that's not going to break them down just yet. They still have the cash flow. They're going to buy right back into this 5th round here, and it includes the double up setup this time. Stan's going to be picking up the second one, so we'll see how well they fare against the firepower, the newly renewed firepower this CT side. Well, they're still working with recovered umps from the last round here. One way it's recycled the buys and given Team Liquid a little bit of a better one, but also allows it to be bought in freely for a few of the players on Misfits that managed to actually make it out of that round alive. The moment, though, Misfits starting off in a very similar way, but they try to push into the mid-connector. Stan's ready for that, though. He picks up the early kill against Shazam. That's a big player being knocked out. Granted, Shazam doesn't have the op, so we're not seeing his primary gun being utilized, but as they move in, that's a missed shot from Shazam, and a second one, too. It's going to cost him his life. Trying to respond from deeper inside of the site. Nitro does trade one out against Sick. That'll drop the bomb in the alleyway, and now they can fully start to rotate over.
Amanek trying to get something going here for Misfits. He's in the vent room and he picks off one with that ump yet again. It's been trusty for him. Sean Gares low on the mag, and that'll be it. It'll be Twists taking things over as Liquid grab the round back, and just like that, we see a little turtle forming on the scoreboard as Liquid have rebounded from one round lost and force Misfits back down to no money.
So now taking a look, yeah, Misfits are just going to force into this one as heavily as they can. Now, granted, that doesn't include quite a bit. Sick will get himself an op, and Amanek is going to be over on the AK. Curious as to why, since everybody pretty much has armor, curious as to why Sick doesn't try to trade that over to Shazam for some reason, but there we go. Okay, now everything makes more sense. Shazam is going to end up with the op, and he'll just be sitting back over here at the backside of the platform. Tries to go for a bit of a Foon play to leap forward and eliminate Stan, but Stan gets the better of him. He's ready for that shot. And does knock out the only op in the hands of Misfits currently. They still have that AK Amanek, but again, more and more of them just continue to get shut down. I think Sick tried to move in to retrieve that op, but he was also taken out by Stan.
3 players now for Misfits trying to do what they can. That's just Tech 9s and an AK for Amanek. We saw how successful he really was in that round. You know, with that ump when they went for that A execute between him and Sick, they had a great dynamic duo thing going. But here he's holding onto an AK and his cohorts don't really have much to work with. He's going to throw a deep smoke over the castle walls. But meanwhile, the bomb has made it into the drop room and now into connector, and down it goes. At this point, Amanek, there's not much you can do. He's better just saving this AK if possible, maybe taking a gunner down if he can, as Liquid have 5 bodies standing. If he can find one of these ops, that's a mild success on the round, but now he should have been spotted by JDM, who is jump peeking over top of the wall. JDM just goes up on top. That's a BDP if I've ever seen one. Liquid will take the round without a single casualty, not even 1 point of damage dealt.
And now Misfits will find themselves in a pretty dark spot here, as they are going to have to fall behind and basically work from the backside on this map. Definitely not going to be able to respond in kind to a loss like that one. They will end up essentially on just an upgraded pistol round here. And even that's pushing it for a few of these players. Sick is down at, what, like 1650 right now, so it is bringing them down relatively low. But going on third losing bonus, it does kind of align with their buying patterns, so we'll have to see how this plays out in the long run. Misfits, though, knowing that they're probably not going to be able to get much done if they try to play into that default again, especially on an eco round. They just rush through long A. They are going to try to swing back down and get mid-connector control, too, but you won't find anything in there. Everyone from Team Liquid has already fallen outside and is getting ready to defend this site. As Amali burns out one stand, finds himself a second. Yeah, Misfits not really going to be able to get anywhere with this round.
Again, 5 players survive here for Team Liquid. That's really important. They're just starting to solidify their cash flow. So the money is starting to even out. And you can see about 5 or 6K on all of these guys for Liquid right now, as Misfits is scrapping together a buy that includes a Galil of all things. No op, which we talked about how important that was for Misfits in the past with the way that they play with Shazam anymore. So not having that is going to drastically impact the style of play, and more importantly, very little utility. And the other side has so much. It's so important on your CT side of Cbble to have like the incendiaries to try and slow down that fast B play, or those hardcore like raw speed executes that we see from teams when they're economically starving. So the fact that Liquid have all this cash, the ability to just buy clock time to get into proper positions, is going to be damaging for Misfits. It's going to be very hard for them to try and bounce back from this one. We'll see if they have the firepower to overwhelm them, though. Sick is the lead man on Broken Wall, and Duvek has gotten things started onto Twist, as he's already made it into the drop room alongside Sean Gares, I believe. I heard the Galil firing away. No, Sean is actually in a different position. He's over towards the Broken Wall. He actually picks up a kill onto Elige before he meets his end by way of JDM's op. Meanwhile, though, the Molotov is down. It's still buying them some time here, despite the fact that they are at a 2-man disadvantage. It's sort of recoverable. It's all going to come down to the shots from JDM with his op. As the smoke fades, he's got Duvek right on the other side of the wall in the drop room. Meanwhile, though, he gets a spin shot onto Sick. He's still in the sight, and the no-scope onto Shazam. And like that, it's Amanek all alone again. An all too familiar situation for him. This time, though, there's only 2 in front of him instead of 5.
JDM with an incredible hold there behind the smoke, keeps himself hidden through all that time, and then just explodes at the very end of that play. Now Amanek basically set up with an impossible situation. So much time has passed since that play from JDM that these guys could really be anywhere out on the site. He's going to have to make his best guess at this one and just basically hope for the best. He will try to play this out with the op as well, but swinging in, he's not going to be able to find Stan just yet. He's sitting safely tucked away in that corner, and once Amanek checks it, down he will go. And Team Liquid will propel themselves forward now on a 4-round streak of 6-2.
And again, we see that double op setup. It's going to stay in play. And there really is not a solution right now for Misfits. There just isn't. It's back down to pistols again here. I'd love to see them go back to what they did in the pistol round. Just charge up mid into A, try and get a bomb plan here, hope for the best, and then build off of that in your next round. Because at that point, you're going to be sitting on full loss bonus. You'll have a little bit of money coming into this one. A bomb plant means you'll have more than enough cash for all that utility for the op as well. And it kind of seems like they're feeling that as they do situate themselves outside the smoke on the double door. Already through it, though, is Duvek offering up himself as a sacrifice to the Liquid gods. Sick's going to try and trade out, but he can't catch them. Just can't get there in time. Charges through. He's going past every bit of utility they've thrown down, and he just can't find his way out of it. Sean Gares is going to get naded in mid. It's a bit of a dumpster fire for Misfits, as again, Team Liquid survive with all 5 players. That's just really propelling them to almost 5 figures on multiple players.
Yeah, I mean, after some dominating rounds like we've seen here, and some incredible comebacks like the round previous, back on round number 8, it is looking a little bit grim here for the Misfits, but we have to hope that they can get themselves back together to make this match a little bit more competitive, not just seeding this one and having to immediately focus up on the third map, as that's certainly not going to be good for the morale overall of Misfits, even though they took map number 1, getting just destroyed in the way they kind of are now is not going to make them look very good going on to map number 3. A lot of HE grenades will get traded back out here and dropped to start off the round. And at least quite a bit of damage actually on the players in drop. I think a combined damage of just about 70 or so between both Nitro and Twist. Still no control really being gained or denied by either side just yet, as Misfits are still holding, wanting to run the timer. That may change now, though. Flash is starting to work their way in. Twist called for an early rotate. So he's going to give up drop, let them move into the site. The problem is, though, is that leaves Elige just sitting in the open. JDM peeks out, has a response to it, gets a nice second flick, and is going to go for a third. He gets it. It's a no-scope as well. JDM on fire right now with 6 kills in the last 3 rounds. I don't even know how many got in the previous round to add to that one. But Twists picking up the final kill there does secure things for Team Liquid. And their lead continues to propel forward, now at 8-2.
So across 4 rounds, Liquid has lost 1 player. That's absurd. That's seriously absurd. There's so much money building up right now for Liquid. But the bigger problem is JDM. Is if this guy starts to catch fire, can Shazam even keep up? Because Shazam looked really good when they could even afford to put an op in play. But can he handle the way that JDM is playing right now? Was he as good as JDM is looking right now? I don't know. JDM is just really catching fire, and we knew this was going to happen. I mean, this is Liquid's map. Cbble is a strong map for Liquid, always has been. I looked at this match coming into this, and I thought, if Misfits don't veto Cbble right off the bat, that is a huge mistake, and they let it slide through in favor of vetoing Inferno, of all things. So that map would have put them probably on more of an even keel, maybe slight edge to Liquid, but this is a landslide edge to Liquid, and you can see why. The double op setup is still in play. Stan is playing towards long. They feel like they just want to keep pressuring B, where they've got to deal with JDM in position with that op. Outside of window and door, it will be Twists, who's watching both E-Box and Connector kind of at the same time, and he's got Nitro to support him as well in the event that they try to flood through the drop room. Slow play right now for Misfits, ticking the clock down just a bit. Elige is going to get himself into the corner. There is 1 molly to pull him out of this position, potentially, and Sean Gares might throw it, or he might save it for later on. They are going to flash their way through this smoke in just a moment, and here they go. He's going to actually heave that one back towards a chicken coop, so they're not going to deal with Elige, but Elige only gets 1 kill from that position anyway. JDM, meanwhile, is dodging the molly that was thrown for his position as it was short, and as a result, Liquid get the round. JDM doesn't even have to move, just hides behind the flames, and he's now hit 16K in cash. So, JDM is now at 14-2. Twists is at 13-2. I mean, this is just an unreal performance from Liquid. It's starting to look like Misfits did early on in that first half on Overpass, where they were really gathering up rounds, and Liquid couldn't do anything. These two teams are just really hitting their stride on their respective map pick. But it was not as surprising to see that here. We knew coming into this one that Liquid was very good on Cbble. We knew what to expect from this team, and it's no surprise that they're off to this fantastic start. Again, though, the op will be picked up by Shazam, who throws a flash out deep. Stan is playing a passive angle. He's got to be careful. He needs Nitro to help him out, and Nitro does bail him out of the initial kill. He's going to throw down a smoke that allows him some room to work with. He actually runs into the molly, as he was safe in the corner, at least for the time being. But he throws down a molly at his retreat. Nitro's going to keep the action going in the dangerous stairs, as Sick tried to come in from the other side, and he's having none of that. Tech 9 out, and he lets it bang. So it's a 4-on-3 right now in favor of Liquid. Another round where they have the man advantage. Still, though, there's room for them to work with. Devo Duvek has managed to get into drop room, and he's got a 1-on-1 isolated in this B bomb site that could potentially open up the map for them. But Twist is just hiding in the corner. He never sees it coming. So much for that. It's down to just 2 now. Shazam and Amanek. And even though they've been heavy hitters for Misfits throughout the day, I don't know if they have it in them to get this A bomb site by themselves. Amanek has made it up mid. They're getting low on clock time here, down to just 20 seconds. Amanek has a kill onto Stanislaw. He's at least going to be able to take the op out of play. And meanwhile, Shazam has gotten a kill in the site as well. It comes down to a 2-on-1, but the clock is working against Shazam. At this point, Misfits burned too much. So Liquid survive. Heavy casualties, but they can afford it. They had so much money on so many players.
Yeah, and now, obviously, Misfits is going to try to rebuy into this one again. But taking a look at it, they are immediately going to have to make some sacrifices in going for that rebuy. For Sean, the limited utility for pretty much everyone that bought AKs. I think Devo gets himself smoke and molly, but no flashes. There's sacrifices being made all over the place here, whereas Team Liquid is fully stacked and fully cashed out. Fully cashed in, I should technically say, for a lot of their own players here. And it's just not looking great on this T side overall for the Misfits right now. Again, default stack for these guys. Did see Amanek try to sneak his way forward. He's hidden behind a smoke right now, but he's already lost 2 of his teammates. Moves in, finds one, is not able to locate the second player slightly above him. So Stanislaw stays alive for right now, keeps himself in the mix. And Amanek is going to swing back up here and try to make his best bet to win this out 1v3.
can really start to understand why that first map was so important, why that mattered so much for Misfits moving forward. You know, Train is actually a map that plays to their strengths a little bit. So it is still possible for Misfits here. If they can make this respectable, if they can keep this loss even close, assuming that it is a loss, which it looks like it's going to be, at least they'll move into the next map with a little bit more of a level head. Whereas right now, if I'm Misfits, I'm not happy. Our mental state is awful. It could seriously derail things. And, you know, some of these younger players, like Sick, for instance, they don't respond well to those kind of environments. So, you know, if I'm Misfits, I'm concerned about the fact that we could get blown out in the second map and that could seriously spill over into the third. Right now, the highest performing player for Misfits has 7 kills total across 13 rounds. That is the top performer. Sean Gare's on 2, Sick on 4, 5 for Shazam and Devo Duvek. It's really just not a great performance across the board for anyone. And they're in a constant state of economic depression. They can't really work well with Tech 9s or AKs and Galils with limited utility. You know, they're just constantly in a spot where they're force buying, but at this point they have no choice because their backs are against the wall. They can't really afford to give up any more rounds than they already have.
I mean, all that star power that I was talking about back on the last map is now just completely gone. And it seems to have been replaced primarily with JDM, along with some good stuff from Nitro and Twist every once in a while too. But JDM has definitely had a lot more of the sort of highlightable plays so far in this game. But none of that's gone. Like Shazam has completely fallen off the board. Where's he sitting right now? He's sitting like 5 and 12. So he's kind of in line with the rest of his teammates, but still, just no real capability for them to be able to. It doesn't really seem like a lot of times they have a plan, as they're almost always just lining up in a default. So I am a little bit curious if this map was just ill-rehearsed and they decided to let it go through to test it. But, I mean, this is arguably one of Liquid's best maps, so it's a little bit dangerous to let that go through if you didn't really feel prepped for it.
I don't even think it's arguably. I think it is. Like, just looking at the team throughout their history, I'd say that Cbble has always been a really good map for them. So how would you let this one slide through? I mean, I get it that you don't like Inferno. I understand that, and it's clear that they haven't wanted to play Inferno because their 2 dedicated vetoes on Misfits are Cbble and Inferno. They don't like playing those maps. But, like, this is a really good map. You know, in the last 3 months, they're 14 and 4 on Cbble compared to 4 and 6 on Inferno. I'd kind of roll the dice on Inferno. I thought, you know, I thought we would see them veto Cbble and maybe they pick Cash instead. You know, a map that I would put these teams kind of on a coin flip basis where I think that both teams are pretty even. Star power can shine through. You can have rounds where like Sick or Amanek or Shazam really go crazy and open things up. But instead, they opted to let this one through, and that's a serious misplay by Misfits. Like, before the series even starts, that's a huge mistake.
Well, taking a look at how exactly one of these last rounds in the half is going to end up playing out. Twist moving himself forward along with JDM. They are able to both pick up kills, but it's been evenly traded. Shazam and Devo Duvek also able to pick up some of their own, and ends up in a 3v2 after everything's said and done. And Amanek still getting a little bit more work done further back within the site. He's able to knock out Nitro. Stanislaw responding, of course, by eliminating Amanek. Just leaves Stanislaw in this play to try and clutch it on 1v2. As he pushes forward, it does find Devo Duvek, but Devo Duvek swings out, eliminates him, and just like that, Misfits have finally found themselves another round.
But now you can start to see, like, look at all this money. Liquid's like, hey, you want to buy some ops and just throw them over the wall for fun? It's the last round, and we've got $8,000 left on some of these players. It's just really unreal performance from them. Devo Duvek and company going to be able to grab 1 op. That'll be in Shazam's hand compared to the 2 that they've been put in play for Liquid. This is what we've seen from Liquid for quite some time. The fact that they can still afford this just shows you how one-sided things have been. That round for Misfits comes at the very end of a long string of rounds. I mean, just look at that. It's absurd. Shazam, though, gonna win the fight with Stanislaw, so that's one of the ops taken out of play. And that's going to put Stan, the in-game leader for Liquid, in the backseat as he watches his team compete for this final round. Elige getting aggressive, using that smoke to push all the way up on Broken Wall, and he's going to try and get himself in an advantageous position. Problem being, there's a lot of players on the other side, and he's got to be careful. He's got to refresh for that smoke at the very least. But the trajectory of that smoke might give it away, might give away the fact that there's someone playing very close to this one. Oh, Elige. Oh, don't do it. Don't do it. 4 players right on the other side. Here comes the pop flash. He wants to trade positions with them. They actually blow right past. They don't see him. This is a huge play from Elige, but it's all going to come down to whether or not he gets spotted. He only gets 1 kill initially. Shazam shuts it down. That could have been so much better for Elige. It was so risky, but it almost worked out. And instead, it will be Nitro and Twist trying to retake.
Yeah, now going to leave this down to just these Two players here on the outside of the site now, as Nitro does try to look his way over through drop. Has a little bit of an angle to try and spot through this smoke, but definitely does not want to risk it until he can try to get Twist into a better position. Twist just decides to end up pushing forward to rejoin him, however, so they'll both end up moving forward, trying to get themselves together and out onto the site. Nitro with a great nade, dispatches of Shazam, and Twist knocking out Sean, just leaves Omnic in this one. They wasted a lot of time, and Omnic's been the big player here for Misfits throughout the entire set. He moves forward with that massive 2K at the end and clutches it out for the Misfits to at least bring them back to 4 at the end of the half.
Watching that play back from Elise, you're just like, oh god, wait, no, this might work. Oh, it didn't work. You know, it was risky, and it could have been a crazy play, but the positioning and spacing for Misfits just happened to work out. It's really not his fault. You know, he's thinking that they're all going to be lined up in front of him, so he kills that lead player, and he's going, wait a minute, where are they? And he just took too long to get on the other side of the smoke, and then he's not anticipating the fact that Shazam is still sitting back by the door, peeking the stairs with an AWP. So, yeah, it's as much as I want to look at that and be like, he probably should have killed Shazam. It was also a good shot from Shazam, so you can't really look at that and just say, oh, it's all Alicia's fault. But still, what a play. And what a first half from Liquid. I mean, even throwing that last round away, they can't be too disappointed.
No, not at all. I mean, obviously, like a little bit of an upset there towards the very end of it with Misfits kind of coming back into the fray, but it happens so late that it honestly doesn't matter that much. As long as Liquid can still take control of this pistol and follow through with like the first gun run of victory, they're still have a very easy path to be able to win out this half in quick fashion, or win out this map, I should say, in quick fashion here. So it's all going to come down to whether or not Misfits can, find a few more of these rounds and start it off strong on the CT side. If not, then it's still going to be an easy path for Team Liquid to take this 1-1 and take us to the third map.
Looks like Liquid's going to be moving towards this A bomb site where we see some presence early on from Misfits. Duvek trying to do some damage early, and Steady takes damage. There's only one player lurking B. It's Twists, and there's a heavy B presence right now for Misfits. 3 players actually all grouped up, looking like a fidget spinner in the drop room as they're spaced apart in a triangle formation, but they're not really going to see much action. It's the 2 players on A who are about to get taxed in just a moment as the push is coming towards that direction.
Still going to be nice and quiet across the map overall, though. Team Liquid yet to really push themselves into an actual site here, as they're just holding at the edge of long A. But finally, JDM makes a little bit of contact against Amanek. Doesn't really lead to a whole lot, though. Duvek did get tagged, in the meanwhile down to 13 HP for previous battle. But it is still leaving Team Liquid at a bit of a standing point. Do we follow through on this and try to brute force our way up through A? Or do we try to be a little bit trickier, bringing the bomb in another direction and then trying to do a pinch? And it looks like they may end up doing that pinch, or possibly a fake. I doubt it'd be a fake on a pistol round. We'll see. Elige finds that first entry against Dominic. Can't see through the smoke. They are able to find him inside of it. And now more are going to push their way out through the drop room here as Elige and Nitro pick up 2 more kills. Shazam so far the only one's been able to respond to it, but he's already dead on the ground. Sean's trying to find some pickups too. Does get one, but is caught reloading by Elige, just leaving Duvek in this one alone in a 1 versus 3 situation. He'll try to creep back in through the main doorway, but there's not a whole lot of room left for him, especially with 13 HP. More than likely, as soon as he's revealed, he'll be a dead man, and it will be Team Liquid to be able to claim this second half pistol. It's like, again, just trying to check out every avenue he can. There is still CZ on the ground. He's got Stan. That's actually one of the few kills he can reliably pick up, since Stan was already brought low from a previous fight. Now moving in, tapping onto the bomb. They know he's here, and there you go. Leash swings out, closes it out with the 4K, and indeed gives Team Liquid their 12th round.
So Liquid now just walking towards the finish line at this point, just kind of marching their way forward, not receiving much resistance from Misfits. It will be some ecos coming in for them, as it will be a force buy here and an eco to follow unless Misfits can do something about this one right here and now. Shazam with the scout will be pivotal in that one, but we knew that this map was probably going to be Liquid's to take, and they've just shown us great stuff, and picking up that pistol round really only solidifies things. Now, all things considered, this scoreline at the half could have been way worse. So we could have seen the game basically being over at this point, but instead, there's a few more rounds for Liquid to take before that's going to be the case. They're grouping up on long right now. Duvek and Stick are both there playing tag team positions in the drop, or in the danger stairs for that matter. He loses Duvek, but that doesn't stop Stick from firing away. Stick tries to hide in the corner while he goes for the reload, and man, that magazine feels like it takes an eternity. So he doesn't get a fresh mag into the CZ75. He does die, but the damage has been dealt. Amanek is in a really good spot as well. If JDM doesn't peek this one, it will be a potential another kill and maybe 2 as well, as the bomb is right on the other side of the wall with him. Flashbang in. He doesn't peek to the right, though, and there's Twist doing exactly what Amanek wanted to do on the other side of the wall, mirroring one another's positions. Sean Garris tries to get into the bomb site to try and stop this one. Shazam, he's all the way across the map at this point. He's going to have to move if he wants to help Sean out at all.
Sean just trying to sit himself in this corner, set himself for the best possibility of kills, but doesn't get a single one. So it's not going to be happening here. We won't see the round upset unless Shazam does something crazy. But I highly doubt that that is going to happen. It looks like, again, kind of creeping up to the smoke and maybe trying to abuse on anyone that would have peeked out from the platform as the smoke faded away. But at the moment, he's not finding. He is actually getting free access, but in a moment, yeah, Nitro is going to come back from long, peek in to check that for a second time, and Team Liquid will finalize the round itself. Now sending Misfits onto their full save, where realistically they won't have much of a chance here either, and Team Liquid should be able to push up to 14.
It will be that 10-round lead, because these are the rounds that are pretty easy. Although let's not say that so quickly, because we saw a full eco today already, full USPs work out really well. It was on Overpass in the CLG game earlier today. But I don't know that that's going to be the case here for Misfits. Liquid just charging into drop room. They lose JDM right off the bat, so that's 1 kill piling in. So maybe it isn't impossible to make these pistols work. Elige is going to get 2 with his AK. Meanwhile, Stanislaw getting an assist on the Twist as he does a bit of team damage. They've managed to get onto B, but they are dropping bodies here. It's come down to 2 versus 1. Devo Duvac has at least an ump, and Nitro is so low on HP that he can't really do much of anything, and he gets dropped quickly by Devo Duvac. All of a sudden, this is winnable. It's a 1 versus 1. Elige with the AK on the broken wall throws out an aid. Does he know that Devo Duvac crossed towards the site? I don't believe he does. Yeah, now he does. He takes control of the situation once the aim punch takes over, but still, from a full eco, essentially, you should never come down to just one player. It's polar opposite of the rounds we saw from Liquid on their CT side, where not a single player was dropping.
Well, now it has brought Team Liquid up basically to this ultimatum round, with Misfits obviously buying into it fully again, but obviously they're even going to be they're going to be lacking a little bit here, because it is still first gun round on the half. They are not going to have an op. They're not going to have great utility, and overall, this is Team Liquid's first real chance to break through and end it right here, right now. After this, it's only going to get harder, as Misfits are going to get ops, they're going to get better utility setups. This is your easiest opportunity in terms of what your opponents have in their hands. And Team Liquid just starts it off nice and slow, moving into the mid connector, and then trying to transfer that into suicide steps and thusly long A control. As they move out, though, Devaduvek's ready to take that battle. Unfortunately, he goes down immediately afterwards, and so does his teammate, Amanek. Now that's almost the entire A site under their control. In fact, it should translate into the site, as they immediately smoke and molly off the 2 entrances from the other bomb site, giving Misfits not really a whole lot of choices here. Team Liquid have even set up to deny save attempts.
Yeah, you have to make a decision really quick if you're Misfits here. Do we try and go for this and play for the win, or do we save and go for overtime? I think they're going to just save and go for overtime. There's no entry, no way they're getting into this. Great play from Liquid. They just stormed that A site, but unfortunately, they don't anticipate the fact that Stanislaw is watching the flank. So he's there in drop room. He's actually going to get a second, even though he'd been spotted out already. He wins the fight with Shazam. Sick is the only one left alive here for Misfits. So 3 players tried to save. He might be able to survive for a little while here. He's playing on the other side of the double doors. Flashbangs back towards the broken wall to make him think he's playing in that position. And it doesn't look like he's at any risk of losing this gun. But he will be the only rifle potentially brought into the next round. As Misfits, they hit that wall. Team Liquid has just looked really good on Cbble. I mean, there's really not much else you can say. Misfits struggling on the map. It's not a good map for them. They led it through the veto phase, and Liquid capitalized.
Yeah, and so now this takes us into the force of investment for the Misfits here, which is not going to be that great. Amanek having himself the shotgun, and the others basically 1 M4 for Sick, and the 3 UMPs. Team Liquid certainly having the advantage, but this is where Misfits make it a little bit desperate, and they'd be able to find advantages off of that one. Like the slow peek from Stanislaw right now, probably not going to work versus Amanek if the timing works out with this peek. He's just sitting behind long A currently, waiting for these players to swing their way in. And they're definitely going to oblige upon that one. You can hear the shots moving in. So Amanek with 1, Amanek with 2, and there you go. The aggressive position works out great for him. There is the possibility of him getting traded up by Nitro right now, but he deploys the smoke, so he can just scurry away safely, guaranteeing them the now 5v2 advantage after Devo Duvek also gets a kill in mid.
Nothing really happening right now for Team Liquid. Just walking around the map. Kind of exploring things. Checking out the views. It's a beautiful map. And enjoying the nice little museum section there. Taking in the sights. Finally now they're going to head towards B though. The clock goes down to 45 seconds. JDM is here with the AWP. And Nitro is just in front of him with the AK. There's still bodies on B. Sean Garris is playing anti-flash in the corner right now. He's not actually looking anti-flash, but he's in the anti-flash position. And down goes Nitro as he comes out of the broken wall solo. JDM now isolated on the broken wall. Unlikely he survives much longer, and he does die. So it's a 5th round for Misfits, but it's a drop in the bucket, as they're going to need to do a lot more than that to bring this one back. They need 10 more rounds just to take us to overtime, and even at that point, based on the way that Liquid played in the first half, and even here in the second, it's still going to be an uphill battle, because Liquid looked really good when the money was taken out of effect, and it was just buy round against buy round.
Mm-hmm. Well, let's take a look at what exactly Liquid is going to have to offer us now on this round. Starting things off, we're going to see Team Liquid sending pretty much players into a default pattern here. A little bit heavier towards long, but the long control is still something that you'd normally expect to find. And even Misfits reading into this now. They know there's going to be probably a heavy push since their money's not going to be too great. So they pull all of their players back. Amanek just waiting here at mid, and Devo doing the same thing. The prompt smoke over towards the edge of long A to try and prevent them from moving in. I mean, they've even got a 3-man stack here. At the moment, Misfits actually looking really good, reading into this properly and having the correct setup to counter out what Team Liquid is currently looking to throw at them.
So Misfits right now just waiting to see what Liquid's going to do. Can they keep this one going? Shazam posted up on the broken wall with the AWP peering towards the castle area. Twist is just on the other side of that wall. He knows that there's a player here as he sees the flashbang come out. Misses the shot, though, so he's going to have to fall off. But at least it tips the hat there, as they know exactly where Shazam's playing with his AWP, and they even get the kill onto 6. So things are looking good right now for Liquid if they try to go for this split A. Amanek in mid does manage to pick up one, and his teammate is still on the site as well. Sean Gare's playing right in front of Humpty Dumpty. It's 1 kill from him for the up, a second to follow. Twist, though, on the backstab coming in from the connector, does decent work, and down goes Shazam on the B site. Those two players weren't even a part of the play, but it mattered in the end, and it will be Misfits losing the second map, and we will be heading to Train.
Yep, so Train is going to be our 3rd and final map of this set. The semifinals and the finals themselves are up for grabs, so both these teams are certainly going to want to try to push themselves through to face off against, I believe, CLG pushes through, and they're going to be facing off against the team that wins this one in the grand finals coming up after this set. But of course, we still have that 3rd map to get through, folks, so stick around, and as soon as that 3rd map is ready to go, we'll be bringing it back to you.